Hi guys, it's Kathy. It took so long because my microphone stopped working in between that stream and this stream. I couldn't get it to start again. I don't know what's going on today, guys. I just don't know. Mars must be in retrograde. I gotta show you something though. When I get set up for the OJ, what? I can't share my screen, guys. Oh man, there we go. Okay, when I try to get to the OJ every day, um, it opens in the playlist that I use that I have in the description. So if you ever wanted to go watch ahead, you could. Um, and then I scroll down to where we are, and we are getting there, guys. This look how long it takes me to scroll to find where we are.
Can you let's narrow it down. Can you narrow down your question? That could be it could be a jillion things.
I agree. No, I just couldn't hear, Your Honor.
Can you narrow it down a little?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Rephrase the question.
Was I muted that whole time? Was it like muted that whole time I was talking while I was scrolling?
Yes. You indicated, I think, to minimize delay in the response to the coroner's office.
Well, that may be one of the reasons. They need to deploy their people properly. I don't think they could send out they need time to properly have people available, have equipment available to respond to homicides. If we were to wait till the last moment and, okay, we need you now, there's the possibility that we couldn't get anyone to respond because they'd be tied up elsewhere. They need to be concerned with their deployment.
Okay, what's your concern? Why do you make first notification and not tell them to come straight out to the scene?
Because I am certainly concerned for their deployment also. However, I don't tell them to come to the scene because I have work to do.
What work is that?
Investigating the crime scene prior to the removal of the bodies.
Why don't you want the bodies removed? What are you going to do with the bodies?
Well, prior to them being removed, I need to photograph and measure the bodies in position relevant to the other evidence at the crime scene. I need to examine the bodies without touching them. I need to basically do a crime scene investigation, firstly with the bodies in position.
And so how do how do you preserve or document the position of all the evidence and the bodies before the coroner comes?
Document observations, take photographs, measurements.
Okay, you've seen the photographs taken in this case, is that right?
Yes.
In some photographs, we see numbers, numbered tags by each of the items of evidence, and in other photographs, we don't. Can you tell us why that is?
The photographs that do not have tags were taken with the bodies in position. The photographs with the tags are taken under the direction of the criminalist with the photographer subsequent to the removal of the bodies in most cases.
Now, in this case, sir, if you know, when you first got to the scene at Bundy at about 4:30 in the morning, was the photographer already there?
Yes.
If you know, were any photographs taken before your arrival?
Yes.
Did he remain there at the Bundy location, the photographer that is? Did he remain there when the four of you left to go to Rockingham at about 5 in the morning?
Yes.
Now, when you got back to Bundy, did you have any further involvement with the photographer at Bundy?
Yes, I directed the photographer to take some shots of the crime scene.
And where did you direct him to go?
In the immediate vicinity of the bodies.
Did you direct his attention to any particular pieces of evidence or locations of the crime scene?
Directed his attention to pieces of evidence within the crime scene, the bodies themselves, positioning of the bodies, evidence that I observed on the bodies, their relative overall distances to other objects at the scene.
Where did you begin with your observations and the directing of the photography, if you recall?
At the bodies.
Okay. Do you remember which one you began with?
Yes, I began with Nicole Brown Simpson.
Now, on the date of June the 13th, when you were conducting the investigation, sir, can you tell us what was the visibility of the body of Nicole Brown from the street area?
Once it became light, it was very visible.
When you first responded to the location at 4:30 in the morning, was it light?
No.
And what was the visibility of her body from the street area at that time when you first came at the scene at 4:30?
Not good at all.
When you say not good at all, could you amplify a little bit?
Unless you knew what you were looking for, you might have a hard time.
Speculative. Without a further foundation, speculative. There's no foundation.
He's describing. Go ahead.
Unless one knew what they were looking for, it may be very difficult to just see the body from the street to the sidewalk.
Now, is the location of 875 South Bundy, in terms of the foliage, any different now and on the date of the jury walkthrough on February 12th than it was on the night of June the 13th?
I'm objecting to formulate that question. I need you to answer this.
Certainly. Thank you. You can answer the question.
The foliage appears to be lighter now than it was back in June. There doesn't appear to be as much of it.
In any specific area you have in mind?
It's the area directly to the north of the walkway at the location.
Okay. Jonathan, can you give me... back there, I'd ask you mark people's...
Next in order, 79.
Thank you. All right, so do you recognize the location being shown here?
Yes.
What is it?
That's the front of 875 South Bundy.
All right,
you-
Ms. Clark, I'm going to allow the video feed of this
Yeah, this
photograph.
one's okay.
Looking in a westerly direction.
And does this depict the way the location looked on June the 13th?
Yes.
Now, you were saying that some of the foliage was heavier then than it is now?
Yes.
Can you tell us, direct the pointer to the area that you're referring to?
To the right, up. This foliage in this entire area here, if you'd circle that arrow in that entire area, and appears to be lighter today than back then.
Is that the area you are referring to, sir?
Well, actually, larger, that whole area there, yes.
Okay, if you could direct the person to,
Are you talking about that whole tree that appears to be there?
Yes, Your Honor, that general area, it's still there, it just appears to be thinner than today than it was back then.
Ms. Clark, are you going to show us as the next photo?
Donald, that's great. I didn't know YouTube knew how to fix things. I thought they just knew how to create problems.
So, on or about the date of the jury view?
we will, but we don't have it ready today.
Or
So if we could circle, is it the left hand, as we face the photograph, Detective Lang, is it the left side of that tree?
Well, Ms. Clark, forgive me for interrupting you, and I don't mean to try your case for you, but if we do that, we'll obscure some of the detail of the tree itself. Perhaps if it's just the tree or the foliage between the palm tree and what appears to be a street standard, if we can agree that's what he's talking about. So
Can
we
we?
don't obscure the detail of what's
Yes,
there.
no, I appreciate that, thank you, Your Honor. Would that be an accurate description, sir?
I'm sorry, what?
The area of the tree between the palm tree and the street lamp? Is that the
Yes,
area?
basically, it appears to be more thinned out, yes,
Today than it was then?
yes.
Okay. All right, did you direct the photographer to begin with the photographs of the body of Nicole Brown?
Yes.
And after he completed those photographs, what did you do?
I continued to make observations, document observations of the body.
And what observations did you make?
I observed the victim to be lying on her left side, appeared to be in what I would term a semi-fetal position. The head was in a north by northeasterly direction. The right arm appeared to be beneath the body. The left arm and hand were extended from beneath the body in what I would term a so-called death grip or cadaveric spasm.
Can you spell that?
C-A-D-E-R-V-E-R-I-C, I believe.
Now, did you observe whether she had any jewelry on her?
Yes.
What did she have?
Observed appeared to be a thumb ring on the left thumb and the grip of her hand that I just described. There was a wristwatch, earrings.
Were those... Did you happen to notice whether she was wearing any shoes?
She had no shoes on her feet.
Did you happen to notice the bottom of her feet at all as to whether there was blood on them?
The bottom of her feet were clean. There didn't appear to be any blood.
And could you
I
tell
want
us what the
some
position of her legs, the position of, strike that. I need lunch. May I just complete this last question and then?
Ms. Clark?
You indicated that there was, let me use a picture instead. In the front of the location of Bundy, I think you indicated that there's a fenced portion on the south side of the walkway that leads from the sidewalk up to the front steps. And
There's
that, I'm sorry?
There's a stationary gate at that location.
Right. Where was Nicole Brown's body placed in relationship to that stationary gate that is to the south of the front walkway?
The body position, for the most part, was to the north of that location on the walkway. However, the legs were beneath the lower rung of that gate.
May I allow the witness to finish his answer before we approach?
All right. Did you finish your answer, Detective?
I'm just going to say the legs were beneath the lower rung and the feet were in a more or less a southerly direction.
A southerly direction?
Yes.
All right. Is this a good time to break?
Sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the noon hour at this time. Please remember all my admonitions to you. Don't discuss the case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case. Do not conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. And counsel, I'll see you back here at 1:30. All right? And let me see counsel without with the report. Court reporter, please.
I definitely know how to make gravy. I can make gravy out of anything. I make a lot of gravy.
Logically, we're coming to a point in the testimony when all of these things would be entered into evidence physically.
The menu into evidence?
That is a possibility. However, I'm precluded from making that choice because it's not here. Nor is the ring, which I do need. I do need and will need very, very soon. I understand that it
All
will
right,
not.
these 4 items?
Yeah.
All right. Let me hear what Mr. Blazier and Mr. Scheck has to say.
Yes, Your Honor. It's my understanding that these are the items that we looked at probably first, and they were ready to come back first. We had everything ready to come back because we wanted to get it back in time. And I think it's just a matter of multiple couriers being used, and I'm not sure what order they decided to bring things back in, but we were done with this stage of our process on Monday.
All right, when will these things be back, Mr. Blazier?
They should be on their way now. We turned them back to the couriers yesterday. It's my understanding.
It's my understanding that these are going to be due back tonight, Your Honor, with the latest shipment. I don't know how the
Judge
couriers
Tito.
decided to parcel this out. It was my understanding that whatever was available first, they put it on the plane and brought it back. So I'm not so sure these things were available. Everybody was certainly aware that we needed these things. And it's our point, one, that this stuff should have been looked at, could have been looked at 6 months ago, and that we wanted to advise.
Without that comment, which has now been made today 4 times, my question is, when is it going to be back today?
We are told that it is due back tonight early this evening.
All right, in the meantime, we have photographs of all these items, correct?
Right, Your Honor, but that doesn't address the problem. We have photographs of everything, of course, but why put in the physical items of evidence at all?
Well, right now, all you need to do is say, Detective, is this a photograph of the ring? Yes, it is.
Well, I know
And
how-
then you can ask me to instruct the jurors that when that item is physically available, I'll tell them it's presently someplace else, not in the courtroom, and it'll be presented to them when it's here.
I think,
Unless you want to suggest we just stop the trial at this point.
Not particularly, no.
No, see, I mean, so what's the alternative?
I think,
Now, if you have an alternative to stopping the trial, tell me what it is.
If I had one, I certainly would, Your Honor.
Okay.
I wouldn't keep it a secret.
All right.
I think we simply wanted to make the court aware of the problems here because this is something that could reoccur. I understand there are some other items that are going to have to be examined, and we will be vehemently objecting at that time to these items leaving Los Angeles. Hopefully, we can work out an alternative to what we went through this weekend.
Okay.
Because this is what we talked about, and this has happened.
That's the purpose of the comment. Let me just note that the court had suggested an inventory with each box, and there was no inventory prepared outside of the box. We finished with these items first because we knew exactly what was going to happen in terms of them coming back. Our people had no dealings with the couriers from the district attorney's office. Mr. Raquel was watching the entire process. It's really their responsibility to bring it back, and if they didn't do it with the first courier, knowing what was coming next, I don't really think it's fair to say that that is somehow our fault.
Well, counsel, I'm not assigning fault to anybody over anything at this point. The issue for the court is, can we proceed with the
Yes.
trial, with the jury? The answer to that question is yes, we can. So we will. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, back on the record then in the Simpson matter, if I haven't already said that. All the counsel are present. Deputy Magnero, let's have the jury, please. Let the record reflect we've now been rejoined by all the members of our jury panel. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Detective Tom Lang is still on the witness stand.
After everybody getting drunk last night, how many people are going to come in to a brewery for lunch or dinner today? I'm a little worried.
Good afternoon, Detective Lang.
So, Your Honor.
You're reminded you're still under oath.
Sure.
Ms. Clark, you're welcome.
Good afternoon. When we left off, Detective Lang, you were describing the position of Nicole Brown with her legs under the gate. I'd like to ask Mark next in order People's 80.
People's 80.
People's 80.
You might want to cut the feed for this.
I've got it.
Chief, please.
Can you tell us if you recognize that, sir?
Yes, those appear to be the lower right leg and foot and left foot of Nicole Simpson.
And the stationary gate that you described, is that what her legs are under?
Yes,
Now, did you examine the bottom of her feet, sir?
yes.
And what did you find?
Nothing, they were clean.
I'm sorry?
Nothing, they were appeared to be clean to me.
No blood?
No.
Was that important to you?
Yes.
Why?
It would indicate to me that the victim was more than likely struck before there was any blood that flowed and perhaps went down initially before the fight really ensued with the other victim, and obviously didn't walk through the blood during the struggle.
Now, you said you made observations. She herself, however, the upper part of her was lying in quite a lot of blood.
Yes.
Keep the feed cut, Your Honor.
P 42, Your Honor.
And is that the position in which you found her?
Yes, it was looking westerly.
And did you happen to observe, now, we're on your return to Bundy, when you came back at approximately 6:45
Approximately 6:45, somewhere in there.
a.m. Did you make a more detailed observation of the front walkway that leads from the sidewalk of Bundy to the front steps of the location?
Yes.
You're going to cut the feed on this one. It's P 43B.
All right. You recognize that, sir?
Yes.
Is that the front walkway I've just described to you?
Yes.
Now, can you tell us what you observed there?
Yes, I observed what appeared to me to be a runoff of blood from that victim flowing down the sidewalk, which was at a slight angle eastwardly.
P 43A, Your Honor. Again.
Do you see anything that looks like paw prints to you in this photograph, sir?
Yes, it appeared to me to be some type of bloody paw prints.
He muted it again. It's back.
Now, did you observe any shoe prints in that front walkway?
No.
On your return to Bundy, did you make closer observations of Ron Goldman's body?
Yes.
Your Honor, this is P 59. Again, we need to cut the feed.
I assume it's kept cut at this point, Your Honor? Is
Yes.
that okay? Can you tell us, is that the body of Ron Goldman, sir?
Yes, that photograph is looking downward and towards the north by northwest.
And is that the position in which you found him?
Yes.
Now, what were you able to observe on your return to Bundy at approximately 6:45 when you examined him more closely?
I observed that his head appeared to be in a westerly direction. As you see it here, the eyes were open. The body appeared to be curled around a stump with the feet kind of in a south by southeasterly direction. The Pendleton shirt that the victim was wearing had somehow been pulled up around the upper back. I observed what appeared to be possible defense wounds to, I believe it was the outside of the left hand. The left leg appeared to have been cut. There's quite a bit of blood coming down the left trouser leg. There was scrape marks and blood running across the face.
Now, did you make any observations with respect to, you see the shoes that he was wearing depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
The one that we can see most fully, which appears to be the right foot, they appear to be white.
Yes.
On any portion of those boots, was there any discoloration?
Yes, I observed what appeared to be blood on the bottoms of the soles of the feet, of the shoes.
And what about the tops, the toes of either of the shoes? Did you observe blood there?
I believe there was some spattering.
P 54A.
And do you recognize what's shown in this photograph, sir?
Yes, that's the left foot, partial left foot of the victim, Mr. Goldman.
It appears to be red, sir.
Yes.
And yet, you just identified those boots, those shoes or boots as being white in the earlier photograph. Did you observe this toe portion of the left boot to be the color depicted in this photograph?
Yes.
And what did it look like to you?
It looked like it had, like it appears as red.
The items of evidence that are shown under the plant, sir, did you cause these photographs to be taken?
Yes,
And are these as found, are these depicted in this photograph as they were found?
yes,
Do you see anything resembling a bloody shoe print in this photograph?
yes.
Can you, would you like to step down, sir, and perhaps indicate that shoe print? You know how to use this?
We'll see.
Okay. For the record, I'm having him use the point maker, Your Honor.
This area right here appeared to me to be a bloody shoe print impression.
All right. If you could please mark that. Do you know how to? Great. Okay. And for the record, the witness has done so, has circled the area of the heel.
Well, we don't know that.
Or what appears to be, I'm sorry,
Sustain, rephrase the question.
what appears to be the heel of a bloody shoe print.
Appears to be a pattern mark on the sidewalk in blood, is what it appears to be.
And would you please put your initials in the upper left-hand corner, sir?
Out in here?
No, up. Not that far.
Right in here?
That's good, yeah. Okay.
Your Honor, may the print of this photograph be marked 54A1.
54A1.
Your Honor, if I may have a moment, I need to change a ribbon on the color print.
The court reporter should take this opportunity.
Did you make
to
any
change
other observations with respect to blood found around the bodies of the victims in that location?
Yes, there appeared to be other partial possible bloody shoe impressions between the two bodies.
Now, when you returned to the scene at Bundy at 6:45, sir, did you make any observations? When you returned to the scene, you already had seen the bloody shoe prints before you left for the first time.
That's correct.
Okay. When you came back and you made the observations of the body of Ron Goldman, did you look for any other shoe prints or shoe impressions?
I looked for possible impressions in the dirt area around Mr. Goldman.
And did you see any?
No.
What is an angel duster?
Did you make any observations concerning the condition of the dirt on which Ron Goldman's body was lying?
Yes.
And what was that observation?
Appeared to be
Did you
loose
survive?
dirt.
Was there any, what did the dirt appear around his body? Did you make any specific observations of its condition?
Some of my mind, the dirt had soiled his clothing during the struggle.
Did you make measurements, sir, of the distance between Ron Goldman's back and the fence behind him, and that is the fence to the north of him as well as the fence to the east of him?
Yes.
And what were those, what did
Donald, are you able to count the number of your scars? I wonder, with your bike and your history.
you measure?
The measurement from the backside of Mr. Goldman to the lower rung of the fence north was, I believe, 1 foot 2 inches. And I believe it was the same to the east.
People's Exhibit 56D, Your Honor. Please.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, that's 1 foot 2 inches. If you can describe to us, can you see on this photograph the area that you measured and you've just described to us?
I can see the area to the right, which would be to the east.
All right, you measured from what point to what point with respect to the east fence on this photograph?
Well, it was the bottom side of Mr. Goldman. If I had my schematic, I suppose I could tell you exactly, but
Would it
It
refresh
was-
your memory, sir, if you had that?
yes.
Could you make a copy of that schematic for me?
Yes.
Yes. It's in the murder book. You made a copy for both of us, didn't you?
I believe I turned over 3 copies.
He hasn't objected in like 3 questions, guys. Hope he's okay.
If I had one of the law clerks make a photocopy of that for you.
Yes, this one was dated yesterday. I didn't get it.
Council has it, just hasn't looked at it.
All right, no. My question was, would it help if I had the law clerks make a photocopy for you, me, and the detective? All right? Ms. Moran, would you make some photocopies for us, please? It's not immediately accessible to both sides. It's easier just to make copies of it. Mrs. Robertson, would you have Ms. Moran make additional copies of these 2 items as well?
Now, these are part of Detective Lang's notes that were turned over a long time ago.
Counsel, I understand. I assume it's just a matter of fishing through the notebooks.
And it's not true. One was from yesterday.
Well, counsel.
Counsel has it right
Wait,
here.
wait. Thank you.
I love it.
Ms. Clark. What's the exhibit number?
It is 56G.
G. Thank you. You may proceed.
Sir, I'm showing you what appears to be a Xerox copy of a schematic. And can you tell us if you recognize what I'm showing you?
Yes.
And can you tell us approximately when you did this, you filled in the distances on this schematic?
The distances were done at the morning of June 13th with the bodies in place.
Okay, and when did you fill in this particular schematic?
This particular schematic was done probably several weeks ago.
And this is the one that shows the bodies of the two victims?
Yes.
And did you turn over copies of this one that you did several weeks ago to the DA's office?
Yes,
And did you make extra copies for the defense as well?
I did.
And there's another schematic here showing some circles and shapes and some numbers. Can you tell us when you did that schematic?
That schematic was done on November 4th, 1994.
And did you turn over that with additional copies for the defense back in November of '94?
Yes.
Now, there's a last one that was, last one that shows some kind of irregular shape with two distances or three distances measured on it. Can you tell us when was that one done?
That was done yesterday.
And what is that a schematic of?
This schematic of the dirt alcove area where Mr. Goldman was found and of the tree in the middle of it.
That shows the measurements of a tree?
Yes.
All right, now the schematic you were referring to,
Y'all who didn't drink last night are going to have to come to my bar this morning so I'm not all alone.
the schematic you were referring to that you wanted to refresh your memory with, is that the one with the two bodies in it that has been turned over several weeks ago?
Yes.
And if you would, sir, go ahead and refresh your memory with respect to that.
Okay.
And did you measure the distances between Ron Goldman's body, some point on Ron Goldman's body, and the east fence that is depicted at the right-hand side of the photograph as we face it, marked Peoples
56G.
56G?
Yes.
And what was the distance, sir?
1 feet 2 inches.
Equals 59. Again, you will need to cut the feet for this photo. All right.
And did you measure the distance between some point on Ron Goldman's body and the fence depicted at the top of the photograph as we face it?
Yes, that's looking to the north from the same position in the lower back of Mr. Goldman. I measured it to the north fence,
As
1 feet 2 inches.
And did you measure the distance between any point near or on Ron Goldman's body and the edge of the dirt walkway that is shown at the bottom of this photograph where the white object, the envelope is?
Yes, may I look at the schematic?
Yes.
Equals 54A.
So I believe it's the left foot, the end of the left foot, the toes were 8 inches from the edge of the walkway where the dirt meets the walkway.
54A, Your Honor.
Okay. So the distance between that toe depicted in that photograph and the edge of the walkway was
8 inches.
8 inches. '54? A, 54A. Perspective again.
Equals 59, Your Honor.
All right, did you measure any distances from an area nearer to the center of Ron Goldman's body to the edge of the walkway?
Donald, it's imperative. That's how important
From
it
the
is.
center of his
Imperative.
body?
What other distances did you measure in this area of where Ron Goldman was found?
Measured the left heel to the east fence,
And the left heel to the east fence was?
it's 2 inches.
Do we have
And I measured the distance from the forehead of Mr. Goldman to the top of the head of victim Simpson.
that? And what was the distance between the forehead of Ron Goldman and the top of the head of Ms. Brown?
4 feet 10 inches.
Can you describe whether or not Ron Goldman's body was found on top of any object, or was it lying flat on the dirt?
He appeared to be lying on his right side on top of a stump, a wood stump.
Your Honor, may this next photograph be marked People's next in order, People's 81?
People's 81.
All right, if you could describe for us, sir, what are we looking at here?
That's a photograph of the area where Mr. Goldman had been lying once he was removed. It's looking north by northwesterly. It shows, appears to be 2 stumps.
All right, Ms. Clark, I'm
Can
going to
you-
release the feed on this.
Okay.
Let me know if there's something else that's coming up, Mr. Farrell.
All right, can you indicate your point? If you could direct the arrow, sir, to what you're talking about as to where those stumps are.
Okay, if you bring it to the right a little bit, down right below, there's a stump right up a little. But if you go up to the card, right below that area should be 1 stump. It's a little difficult for me to see here.
It's pretty dark. You believe that's the general area?
That looks like the general area, yes.
Okay. Leave an arrow there. And the
The other one is down a little lower to the left, a little more down, right at that area there is a second stump.
All right. And then can you tell us where the body of Ron Goldman was in relation to these 2 stumps?
The front portion of the body was lying just to the rear of or behind the forward stump, and I believe some part of his back was lying across the smaller stump to the top of the photograph.
Kind of in between those 2 points then?
More or less.
Okay. Did you take any measurements from the lower and upper stump to the edge of the walkway or that stairway wall that you see in the left-hand portion of the photograph?
Yes.
Okay. That white cement-looking area in the lower left-hand portion of the photograph, sir?
Yes.
What is that?
That's the stairwell, the wall that is to the north side of the stairwell leading up to the front of the residence.
All right, if you could tell us, first of all, what is the measurement that you made of the north stump that would be the one up at the top of the photograph to the edge of the walkway? What was that distance?
I haven't committed those measurements to memory. If I could see a schematic.
Please, refresh your memory.
I don't have it with me.
Oh, that's not on that?
No, these aren't the stump measurements.
You want to make a print for the student image be marked equals 81A.
81A.
All right, this is showing you the diagram you made back in November of 1994. Can you tell us, sir, if that helps to refresh your memory as to the measurements of those stumps that you've just identified?
Yes.
First of all, with respect to the north stump, that's at the top of the photograph that's now being shown, can you tell us what measurement you made?
Yes, the
It is
north
awfully
stump was
painful.
3 feet
It
8
really
inches
is.
south to the walkway.
So from that lower stump to the edge of the walkway was 3 feet 8 inches?
Yes.
And what measurement did you make, if any, of the south stump to the edge of the walkway?
The south stump was 1 feet 11 inches to the edge of the walkway.
No matter how painful, I'm going through it. I'm not going to stop.
Did you make an area, a measurement of the distance between the stairway wall, that white block-like
Once I make a bad
object in the
decision, I
lower
stick
left-hand
with
corner
it.
of the photograph, and any of the fences, either the north or the east fence?
Yes, I made a measurement from the walkway to the north fence,
To the north fence, and what was that?
5 feet 8 inches.
I would feel that's from where we're 5 feet 8 inches.
You want to repeat the answer? Thought it was from the edge of the
Yes.
walkway to the edge of the fence. Correct?
That's correct, yes.
And what about did you measure from the stairway wall to the fence?
Stairwell wall to the fence is the same, 5 feet 8
No,
inches.
I'm sorry, I'm not being clear, excuse me. From the stairway wall in the lower left-hand corner across to the east fence, did you measure that?
Yes, that was 3 feet 3 inches.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
3 feet 3 inches.
I'm going to make this next photograph be marked people's next in order, people's 82.
All right, people's 82.
All right, sir, can you tell us what we see here?
Yes, that's a close-up photograph of the stump that I previously mentioned.
Oh, hell no. The jurors are asleep.
It was beneath, I believe, beneath Mr. Goldman.
And is that the north or the south stump?
That's the north stump.
Your Honor, may this be marked people's next in order, people's 83.
People's 83.
This card.
I was allowed to take notes when I was on the jury, but I didn't. There was nothing to take notes on.
Equals 83 on.
You recognize what's depicted in this photograph, sir?
Yes, that's a photograph looking north to the north fence, as described earlier. And there's a pager that appears about the middle of the frame.
Okay, now this photograph, as well as the one previously shown to you, were these taken before or after the bodies were removed?
After.
Okay. Can you describe for us what's depicted in this photograph and what you saw in this area at the time after the bodies were removed?
Yes, I observed the pager. The item there in the center is a pager that was in the dirt, lying 4 inches the other side of or to the north of the lower rung of that fence. Additionally, there's in the center of the picture, a small tree that's supported by a piece of wood.
That stick that's in the approximately the center, just a little to the right of the center of the photograph, what did that look like to you?
The stick, the vertical stick, is there to support what appeared to be a small tree.
Okay. There appears to be a red substance on it. Did that look like blood to you?
Yes.
Was Mr. Goldman's body in contact with that item before the body was moved?
Well,
It appeared that it may have been, yes.
There seems to be some hole there next to that, or just behind that stick. Can you tell us if that's the way it looked to you?
Yes, it is.
Was it very deep?
No.
And the rungs of this is the north gate we're facing? The north fence, I mean?
That's correct.
You see where there seems to be some red on those?
Yes.
Did that appear to be blood to you?
Yes, there appeared to be transfers on the horizontal and perpendicular rungs of the fence.
Can you describe for us, sir, were there any other woody items like that stick that you've described for us to the right of the center of this photograph, in that location that Ron Goldman's body was found?
Woody items?
Yeah, wood, trees, sticks.
There was a large tree to the left of this photograph, which had come in contact with the top of the head of Mr. Goldman.
What else is in that area?
There are leaves.
Were there any other plants in the area?
Not in that immediate area. They were in the lower right-hand corner of the photograph. There was a small plant near the glove.
Mm-hmm. Now, you indicated that pager, was that the location in which you found it, sir, where it's shown in this photograph?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have here a small manila envelope that is appeared to be resealed with a yellow evidence tag dated February 17th, 1995, and another dated February 18th, 1995. I'm going to open this envelope and show the contents to Detective Lang. This has been previously marked as People's 31A.
Yes.
Can you tell us if you recognize what's being shown here, sir?
May I touch it?
Yes.
It appears to be the pager I observed.
Now, after the bodies were removed, did you go up and more closely examine the pager, sir?
Yes.
Prior to the body being removed from that location, did you examine the pager?
I don't know why you want her to be done. Once she's done, he gets up.
I observed it. I don't recall
That's when I swear, oh,
specifically
right.
examining it.
People's Exhibit 54-1.
People's 54.
Do you recognize what's shown in this photograph, sir?
Yes.
What is that?
That is a white envelope that I observed at the crime scene on the dirt, adjacent to and just to the north of the walkway, that contained what I believe to be prescription glasses.
Your Honor, I have here a plastic envelope that has been sealed with a yellow seal dated February 18th, 1995. I'm going to open the seal.
Do we need to
I just took a
take
look
that
at
out?
it. I
Can you
ziplock it.
can you see it through the bag there, Detective?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's another envelope there.
Yes.
Do you recognize what that is, sir?
That appears to be the envelope depicted in the photograph with the glasses.
Now, when you were at the scene, were you able to tell what was inside the envelope?
Yes.
And how was that?
As you note on the upper left-hand corner of the photograph, there's an open area where the envelope was parted just enough for one could peer inside and see that there were apparently glasses.
Were you able to make that observation without picking it up?
Yes.
And showing you, looking inside the envelope now, as I'm holding the plastic bag without lifting out the envelope, can you see what's inside?
Yes.
And what's inside?
Appears to be prescription glasses.
So those like the ones that you saw on the morning of June 13th inside that envelope?
Yes.
I also love her hair. I do. Use your crayons. Only the white crayon works. Hey, Carla.
Your Honor, People's, you want the reference of People's 54A.
All right, People's 54A.
You might need to cut the feed for this one.
All right, you recall the glove in this photograph that you described as having seen at 875 South Bundy, sir?
Do you think they used this trial in law school as a teaching aid?
Yes.
I'm showing you what is now contained in a manila envelope and a paper bag, a brown paper bag. And the manila envelope now contains some paper bindles. I'd ask that you look inside the bag, sir, and tell us if you recognize what you see. Would the court like to explain to tell the jury why they're repackaged?
Yes, in a second. Mr. Carpenter, why don't you step around so that the jury can see? Ladies and gentlemen, if you recall from Friday, these items were placed into a plastic bag. However, it was determined it was a better packaging with regards to biological evidence to have it in a paper bag rather than a plastic bag. So that's why it's repackaged at this time.
That appears to be the glove in the photograph that I observed.
The items previously marked as 77 and 77A respectively, the glove in the bag.
Noted.
And now showing you, sir, an item that has been marked as 78 and 78A has also been repackaged. Ask you to look inside the brown paper bag. Tell us if you recognize what you see in that photograph, in that bag.
Yes, that appears to be the dark blue knit ski cap in the photograph that I observed at the scene.
Now, did you direct anyone to... Did you ultimately direct that these items be
I
collected?
didn't hear a beep.
Yes.
At the time that you made your observations of these items, sir, were you wearing gloves?
Yes.
Now I can't focus on these very important questions because all I'm listening for is a beep.
What kind of gloves were you wearing?
Not for me.
They were a plastic glove. Thin
And why were you-
plastic glove.
I'm sorry?
Thin plastic glove.
And why were you
Rubber.
wearing gloves at that time?
Generally, when I am working a crime scene of that nature, there might come a time when I might have to touch something. So it is to prevent contamination to evidence as well as to protect myself.
Were you wearing booties, sir?
No.
Over your shoes?
No.
Why not?
I have only worn booties at the coroner's office for self-protection. I've never worn them at a crime scene.
Have you ever seen a detective?
Or will
Have you yourself ever worn booties at a crime scene?
No.
Have you ever seen any detective you've ever worked with or seen at a crime scene wear booties?
No.
Can you think of...
I
Strike
didn't hear
that.
it.
Does anyone at a crime scene wear booties, sir?
Yes. I've seen some technicians wear them at times.
Criminalists or coroners?
Uh,
Investigators?
I don't recall coroners people, criminalists, print people. In fact, I believe the print people were wearing booties at this location
And what is the purpose of wearing booties?
for self-protection against contamination.
Contamination of...
Maybe
Of
someday.
outside sources, perhaps from blood. When there's a bloody crime scene, there's always a possibility one could contact some type of a virus, and consequently, some people wear those.
Okay. So is it to protect the person who's wearing the booties?
Yes.
Speculation, Your Honor, as to why somebody is wearing booties. There's a multitude of...
Objection, Your Honor. What?
just overrule speaking objection. It's one explanation. I'm sure there'll be others. Thank you. Proceed.
Okay.
I heard it. I heard it. I heard it.
Sir, did you direct the photographer to take this picture? Did you ask that this area be photographed?
Earlier I did. Not this particular picture. This was obviously done with the criminalist.
Is there something significant about the hole that you described for us earlier that's shown in this photograph?
The significant thing to me at the time was that it appeared to be freshly dug out.
So what did that mean to you?
Taking into account the scene, it would mean to me that there was probably a struggle in that immediate area, and perhaps this was done with the flailing of feet or movement within that area between the suspect and the victim.
Your Honor, People's 56B.
See what's depicted in this photograph, sir?
Yes,
What is it?
it's a close-up of a set of keys found on the ground just to the east of Mr. Goldman's left foot as depicted in the foreground.
And did you want this particular item photographed?
Yes.
Why?
To show the relationship, firstly to show where it was located, and then the relationship to Mr. Goldman.
And were the finding of those keys near the foot of Mr. Goldman important to you?
They were to me.
Why?
Because of the location and the fact that Mr. Goldman had pockets in his pants, it appeared that he may very well have had those keys in his hand at the time he was attacked.
Which indicates what?
Executive officer. Not
To him?
foundation,
To this detective?
no area of expertise.
Let me see over at Sidebar.
Oh, a sidebar. This detective can answer that question. All right, this looks like a good breaking point. I'm going to pop it up to here. Guys, thank you so much for coming out. I really, really appreciate it watching this with you guys. And I will not be streaming tomorrow, so don't come looking for me. I'll see you in 2 days. Oh, it seems so far. Maybe we can see each other in Bill's stream. Thanks, guys. See you soon. I'm waving, by the way. I'm waving hard. Bye.